This is Pete, or Kenshin1913, along with
Mom,
Elaine.
And what are we going to be making today?
Scones and tea.
Oh yeah.
this is going to be a ladies' tea party.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete's going to join us too.
Sure.
Hi, I'm going to make gingerbread scones, and I tried to make it a little easier by pre-measuring. The difficult part of it is there looks like a lot of ingredients, but really it's not too bad once you put everything in little bowls and get it all set up. So here we go. We're gonna.
Yeah. So what do we got here, Elaine? What's this? We got
Flour.
how much of that?
2 cups.
Mm-hmm.
I have brown sugar, 3 tablespoons.
Mm-hmm.
I have butter, or you can use margarine. It's 1/4 of a cup.
Mm-hmm.
I have 1/4 of a cup of milk.
Mm-hmm.
1/3 cup of molasses.
Mm-hmm.
I have egg yolk.
Yeah, just 1 egg yolk, right?
1
You whip
egg
that,
yolk,
right?
and then you just whip it up.
With a fork.
I'm gonna add some baking soda,
Mm-hmm.
some baking powder,
Mm-hmm.
some ground ginger,
Yeah.
ground cinnamon,
Mm-hmm. And salt.
and salt.
All right.
Those are all the ingredients.
So let's get
I'm
going.
going to start with the dry ingredients first. Okay, I'm going to add the flour to the bowl. I'm using a KitchenAid mixer, but you can do this by hand in a regular big bowl.
Yeah. And can you use a beater? A beat mixer? Probably
Not really. You can just use it
Yeah.
a regular bowl.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the ingredients. I'll put them in the video description if you have any
Okay, I'm going to add.
problems. So now we added the flour and the brown sugar. Now
Alright,
what do we
I'm
got?
going to measure the baking soda,
Mm-hmm.
1/2 teaspoon.
Yeah.
So you're definitely going to need your measuring spoons.
Mm-hmm. So Elaine, where did you learn how to make this recipe? Gingerbread scones.
Somebody at work made them
Mm-hmm.
one time, and they brought them in, and they were delicious. And I asked for the recipe. And she gave me the recipe, and I started making them years ago.
No, they are very good.
Okay, 1/2 of baking soda.
1/2 teaspoon, right?
Yep.
Then we got
I need 2 tablespoons.
2
of
tablespoons. Yeah, like my aunt said, this does seem like it can be complicated, but really the most complicated thing is getting all the ingredients together. Because once you got the recipe, you just follow it step by step, and boom, you got it.
Okay, I'm gonna add salt next.
Mm-hmm. How much salt?
1/2 teaspoon.
Mm-hmm. Because you always need a little bit of salt to perk up the sweet when you're baking.
Okay, now I'm gonna add the ginger, and
Mhm.
that's gonna be 1 tablespoon.
1 tablespoon of ground ginger. All right, so you got. How much are we using here, Elaine?
1 teaspoon
Of ground
ground ginger.
ginger. Now, Elaine, does it matter if if it's a little off, like you
No,
know?
not at all.
Because usually with baking, it's like a science, and you gotta
Yeah.
kind of do everything exact.
I'm gonna add some cinnamon,
Mm-hmm.
and I only need 1/2 teaspoon for that.
So, Elaine, where's all the color from the gingerbread coming from? You know how it's always brown?
It has brown sugar and the molasses.
Yeah, that'll probably change the
which
color.
you're gonna add when we finish mixing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay, dry ingredients in. I'm gonna put the mixer on just to mix it all up. All the dry ingredients are in there. I'm just gonna mix them up,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm gonna make a little well.
Yeah, and this is out in the mixing attachment. This is what the paddle attachment.
Paddle.
All right.
Huh?
There you go. Thank you. So you kind of want to get the brown sugar kind of
Yeah, all mixed up.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a mixer, obviously you can do it by hand.
But by hand.
Which you did the first time you made it, right? Yeah. Alright, so now you gotta make a well in the middle. Kind of reminds me of when you make pasta.
I'm gonna add this butter. Fourth. And we're gonna try to get it. You can use a fork to make it crumbly. Or I'm gonna use just the attachment to here to make it all crumble. So I'm gonna turn this back on.
So now what are we're just kind of getting this all crumbled up.
Crumbled up.
Now how come they don't, so is butter really a dry ingredient or how does that work?
Well, it's
Or usually don't they add
a liquid form, but then they put it in like a little mold to get it cold.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's starting to look crumbly in there. I'm gonna leave it on for another minute. If you don't have a mixer, you can use a fork. You can always just use your hands.
Now what about if you melted the butter and then threw it in there?
No, do not melt it.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're done. Okay, it does look like it's crumbly, some of it, so we're good. Now I'm going to make another little well. But first, I'm going to add my liquids and stir them up.
Yeah.
I'm going to add my
Whipped egg yolk.
Yep. I just did like that.
Just like you're making a scrambled egg or something. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to add it to the molasses. I'm going to add the milk. And I'm going to stir these three things up until they're mixed. Now the molasses is very thick.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Molasses I use for when I make my baked beans. It's very good.
Okay, so I'm just making it. It's turning brown, as you can see, the mixture. So I just want to get it all mixed up. Really.
Now you'll notice when you're mixing, like molasses is very thick, as you said.
Yeah.
And as you're mixing it with the milk, does it get like a little less thick? Yeah. So you'll kind of notice as you're doing.
Yeah. So you're seeing it's turning. It was light brown, now it's turning dark brown. So I just want to make sure it's all mixed together before I add it to the dry.
Well, one thing you might want to do while right before you start like doing all this is preheat your oven to 400 degrees.
Which it isn't.
Yeah, well, we'll get it.
Okay, so now this is all. And I made a little hole.
Yeah, the well.
A well in the middle. I'm just going to add that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay.
Yeah, because usually when you put molasses and stuff, it's slow getting out of there. It takes forever. But you have the milk, and you're all good.
Now we're mixing it all up.
And this should turn it brown, right?
Yes.
Now, what kind of consistency are we looking for here, Elaine?
It can almost look like
Ooh, it smells
dough.
good.
As you can see, it's turning into like a dough. Okay, let me show you.
Yeah.
Look how thick it is. Which is the way you want it to look.
It smells good.
So now I'm going to take this all out of the bowl and then I'm going to put it on floured
baking sheet or a floured surface?
No, a floured surface, because I'm going to show you how I'm going to shape it up. Okay, I just scraped the sides of the bowl and made it into like a little round ball. And I'm going to take this and put it on a lightly floured surface.
Yeah. And we'll show you what you got to do there.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to just flour up the surface. I'm going to take the dough,
So what are you gonna be doing with this, Elaine? You're gonna be kneading it, huh?
I'm gonna knead it for 10 to 12 times. That's all, quickly.
Yeah, because so Elaine, you're gonna be the first person to show how to do kneading on the show. So, kind of explain what the hell it is and why we're doing this. Do you have any idea, or?
It's just to get the dough.
Yeah, because right now it feels a little wet.
So I want to knead it a little with the flour.
Yeah.
Make it a little less liquid because it's so wet. I'm putting flour on my hands here. See, it's sticking. So I don't want it to stick like that. See? I'm just going to scrape it off.
Yeah.
Because it's too soft.
Yeah, see, this is a technique even I don't know how to do.
Okay? So now kneading.
What do you do
I'm
with
doing
kneading?
like this. I'm pressing it down.
With your palms, right?
Yeah.
And then
2, 3.
then, so what you're kind of doing is
5.
you're kind of like circling it, spinning around and kneading.
7, 8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
11, 12. Okay.
Now you got it. Looks better. Yeah, it does definitely look a lot.
So now I'm just going to take it with my hand because the flour's on it. I just want to incorporate that into the dough.
Yeah, because you don't want to leave out like
you don't want
big
it
blotches
looking.
of white. Yeah.
And I'm going to move this out, the rest of the flour out of the way. I don't need it. Okay, now I'm going to take the dough and I'm going to flatten it out. It's going to almost look like a pancake.
You can do this by hand. What about if you had a
By
rolling
hand.
pin?
You can use the rolling pin, but I always just use my hands.
And how many? How many scones is this one
8.
batch? Okay.
8 scones. We're gonna use a knife to cut into the.
Yeah. Now, how big
size.
do you want? How big do you want these?
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Take the knife. I'm gonna cut it.
And you could use a serrated knife, or
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut it in half. Okay, I'm gonna just put that in the flour because it's getting sticky. Then I'm gonna go the other way.
Yeah.
And cut it. It'll be 4 pieces.
Okay. All right.
Then I'm gonna take it and cut it this way. Okay. Finish it off. We're gonna just. So they look like little.
Like pizza.
Yeah.
Like pizza slices.
Yes, pizza slices. Then I'm gonna just take the slices and put them onto the baking.
Pan.
Yep, the baking,
Baking sheet.
And I usually use
parchment paper.
parchment paper, and I usually use
You
a
got-
spatula.
Yeah, you got flour up there.
Because
I'll hold the pan.
okay, and I'm gonna just
Flour up your spatula.
and they don't have to be perfect size.
Yeah, no, they're homemade. Nothing.
Yeah.
That's they're usually not perfect.
So there's one of the, I guess, triangles.
Let me ask you this, Elaine. With the scones, how far apart do you think they should be from each other? Are they gonna puff up in the oven?
Yes, they are. They are gonna puff up.
So
I usually leave them a few inches from each other like this.
Okay.
So I'm going to continue on putting these on.
And then we'll put like the last little.
The last little optional.
Yeah. The next step is optional.
Right.
You could do it, but you don't have to.
Right.
All right. We have our egg whites. You're gonna want to whip those. Yeah, the egg whites. We're gonna put this step is optional. You don't have to do it, right? What we're gonna do is beat up our egg whites a little bit from what you separated from the yolk.
egg yolk.
From the egg yolk.
We saved it.
We're gonna use it as an egg wash. And one thing you can do to give your scones a little shinier coating is you can take them, put a little egg wash on, and
I'm
then
just gonna brush
And what you can do now is take some of this
Coarse sugar,
brown sugar,
or just white.
or white, whatever one,
I'm
and
just gonna sprinkle it,
yeah,
just like that.
then you get that nice little
Yeah.
sweet.
This is optional.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it.
We'll show you how to
They
do it
taste-
one more time.
Great plain.
Yeah. There's also like an optional what is it, like nutmeg cream?
Yes, there is a recipe. I've never actually tried it, but I can give the recipe out if they want it.
Yeah, I can throw it on there. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna throw these in a 400-degree oven
for 12 to 15 minutes.
All right.
And it's going to be kind of hard to judge, so you really want to put the timer on for this. So I'm going to probably put it on for like 13 minutes and leave it take them out as soon as the timer goes off.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to be making cranberry orange scones. This recipe you can add almost anything that you want to it. You can make it plain. You can add nuts to it. You can add cinnamon chips to it. You can add chocolate chips to it. And so mine is a little bit different than Elaine's. It's 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour.
Yep.
It is a 1/2 cup of sugar. It's 2 teaspoons of baking powder. A 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And 3/4 of a cup of whipping cream, or 1/2 and 1/2.
Yeah.
And then, of course, these are my optional things that I'm putting with cranberries and orange.
Let me quickly ask you. So all this stuff here, the flour, the sugar, the baking powder, the cream, and all that, that's for just a basic scone recipe.
Correct.
And then from there, you could add whatever the hell you want. Like this time, we're doing cranberry and oranges.
Yes, and you, like I said, and then from this basic recipe, you can add what you might like.
Okay, so let's
blueberries.
All right, cool.
Raspberries.
Yeah.
And a scone. A lot of people will ask what a scone is, and it's we never know exactly what to say, but the consistency is probably between a cake and a cookie.
And it's nice and hard on the outside, and then chewy in the middle. It's very good.
And it, you know, we're gonna do it with tea, but you know, you can do it with anything.
Coffee.
It's great as a breakfast treat. It's great as a mid-morning snack, and it's great in the evening, you know, with a cup of tea before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm adding my flour. Now you could do this in a mixer as well. You know, a KitchenAid mixer. I'm adding my sugar.
Your baking
and
soda.
my baking soda. And a little bit of salt. I kind of just judge that.
Yeah, but that should be what? How much? A pinch?
A pinch.
Teaspoon or whatever?
It's supposed to be a 1/2 of teaspoon. So we're just mixing this around.
And this is your
to get it incorporated.
Your dry ingredients.
All of our dry.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to make a little bit of a well also. And I'm going to start to add my liquid. So remember, this I'm using 1/2 and 1/2. And you could use whole cream.
What about milk?
Milk, no, because they want it to have a little bit more of that fullness.
Yeah. So don't add the whole thing or all the liquids at once, right?
Correct. You were adding a little bit at a time.
Okay.
And this also, once it's all incorporated, we're going to need this also, like you saw on the last scone recipe.
Yeah, and how many scones does this recipe make?
Between 6 and 8 as well. You make it like a pizza, you know, a pizza round, and then cut it.
And now you don't have to be afraid of over mixing, right?
No.
Okay. Now you're adding how much cranberries is that?
That's 3/4 of a cup.
Okay. Yeah, because orange and cranberries is just one of those flavors that This goes really, really well together.
Now, believe it or not, I don't have any oranges, but I have clementines, and they smell and taste sometimes even better than an orange. So I'm using a little bit of the rind from the clementine.
Yeah, and we're using a microplane. Make sure not to, while you're zesting your clementine or even your orange, that you don't zest any white part, because that's the bitter part of the rind, of the skin.
Now with this, when we finish, I'm going to add a little sugar on top as well. But you could also make a confectionery sugar, like a glaze, and then just kind of pour that over the scones and let it cool.
Yeah, your scone batter does look a little more liquidy than Elaine's does.
Yeah, I'm going to actually add a little bit more flour into here.
Okay.
Okay, because it's got to be a little bit thicker. So as you can see, I added a little bit more flour to it. So the consistency is like the other, it's more like almost like a bready kind of dough, like the gingerbread scones. So we're going to knead this also for a couple of kneads, and then put it on our pan. Okay, so I'm getting my scone mixture.
Now you're gonna knead it. What would you say knead? What kind of process does kneading have? Like the kneading?
It incorporates stuff more.
Yeah. It gets everything a little like, because right now it's still fairly, it's still very sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't want to keep adding a lot of flour, because then that makes it more dense.
And you don't want a dense scone.
And kneading does something with the baking powder as well. I'm not sure exactly what, but it does.
Yeah. Now it looks like your process of kneading is a little different than your sister's.
So she went 8 times or something?
12.
12. How many did I do so far?
I don't know.
6.
I lost.
Maybe
I
7.
I lost count. But you don't want to over knead, right?
No.
No.
You hear that? Don't over knead.
Do it quickly.
Okay.
What do you think, Elaine? That's pretty good.
See, now this one has a lot of nice cranberries in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have seen scones made that you leave it just like this and you score it and you put the whole thing to cook,
Mm-hmm.
so that when it cooks, the whole thing puffs up, and then you kind of just break it apart where the scores are. But we cut ours to make our own.
Yeah. So now you're gonna kind of like.
We're gonna do that too. We're gonna cut it like a pizza.
Yeah.
So let me get a spatula.
You don't have to knead it down or pat it down like Elaine did. You don't gotta pat it down like Elaine did.
Well, mine is padded.
Okay.
See, so some people would just go like this
Mm-hmm.
and like make a dent in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, cut the whole thing.
You know, and go like that,
Yeah.
and then take the whole thing and put it on the
And just break.
and then just kind of break it. But we want to have our own individual ones.
Yeah.
So as you see, when we're cutting it, we put our knife in the flour because it helps it so it won't stick.
Yeah, and also this is we're gonna be putting this in the oven at 375 for about. They're done. 375 for about how many minutes?
This one is, I think, 18 minutes.
Okay, so if you had it at 400, probably take 12 to 15 minutes, just like Elaine's.
Yeah, you just gotta, watch it.
Yeah. And once again, you want to. So yeah, let's we'll put them over here, and then we'll do our little optional step. So yeah, and once what do you want to do? You want to spread them out a little bit, because are these gonna puff up?
These will puff up a little,
Yeah.
because they have baking powder in them.
All right, so we'll just continue to put these on the plate, and then we'll come back and show you how to do the old wipe.
Okay, now what I do on this one is this is a little bit of the creamer again.
The
So,
half and half.
half and half. So
Once again, to kind of like brighten it up, we're gonna put it on top. And you put the confectionery sugar thing on at the end, right? If you were going to do that.
yeah. Now I remember, yes, the if you wanted to make a glaze, you could do it once they come out and they kind of start to cool a little bit, and you make a very thin confectionery glaze. You can add more orange into it if you wanted to, and then you put them on a rack, a cooling rack, and then just pour the glaze over. I'm putting a little bit of
The white
granulated sugar on top.
The white hard sugar.
Coarse.
The coarse sugar, thank you.
And you can buy the coarse sugar in your baking aisle.
Yeah.
All of this is all readily available wherever you have all your shopping needs.
All right, so we're going to throw these in a 375 degree oven for 15.
About 15 to 18 minutes. And again, you got to check them.
Yes.
Okay, we have the finished product.
Here, as you can see, they puffed up.
They puffed up quite a bit. We have the ones where we put the egg wash with the sugar. You can see they're shinier. And these have like little cracks in them, which they look so pretty that way. And now I'm just going to let them cool a little longer. And then I'm going to put them on a plate. And
We're going to eat them.
And then we're going to try them.
All right, so these are the cranberry orange scones right out of the oven. This is what they should look like. As you can see, there's a nice gloss to the top. You got the crystallized sugar. So we're going to take them out and eat them. All right, so now we're going to try and explain the perfect cup of tea. But before we do that, let's just kind of explain, tea. What is tea? Tea is tea leaves and hot water, hot boiling water, right? And one of our guests has shown up early for our tea party. Stella.
This is Stella.
Yes.
Although Stella won't be able to have tea with us today.
No, but she
Not yet.
is here for
taste of our
she is here for the party.
The first thing that we do is to boil our water.
Yeah.
And I boil it in a tea kettle. There's some people who make their water hot in the microwave. That's like a no-no. I just will never do that.
Yeah, for the perfect cup of tea.
If you don't have a tea kettle, you could always just take a small little saucepan and fill it with water and make it come to a boil. Once you've done that, you let your water come to a boil, and then you shut it off for a few minutes, and then you pour it into your tea cup or your tea pot to actually make several cups of tea.
So Elaine, what do we have here? We've got our fancy tea cups, and now we have this. What this is a regular
tea kettle.
Yeah.
A little to brew our tea in. Tea bags.
That one you would put tea bags in.
This is actually has a little strainer where we're going to put the tea.
Actual tea leaves.
Actual tea here. In here.
And those are tea crystals.
Right.
You could also buy tea leaves if you want, but you would have to go to like a specialty store that specializes in teas and coffees.
Yeah.
So we don't have that, but the loose tea is absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
If you just want to make 1 cup of tea, we have a little
thing you would put the tea
you put
crystals
the crystals in, and you just let it sit in a cup of hot water, or you can use this one. Here's another one.
Yeah.
We have different brands.
Yeah, different types of teas, such as this. This is the usual tea. You got your estate tea or your black tea, right?
Right.
Yes.
In the United States, one of the big ones is, of course, Lipton tea.
Yeah, Bromley.
Now, you can hear our pot is whistling. I'm going to shut it off now and let the water just calm down.
Yeah, you don't want to pour the hot water in right away, otherwise you won't get a good cup of tea. So what other ones we got here, Elaine?
We have Red Rose.
That's like orange flavored.
Yes, and it's from Canada. We also have Dublin,
which is Irish breakfast tea.
Yes. We have a special
rose tea.
herbal tea, a rose spirit.
Yeah, they're all different kinds. There's like
Twin ones?
yeah, there's all different kinds
Variety?
like English breakfast, Earl Grey,
Earl Grey.
and then there's
then we
like
have some decaffeinated if you don't like
Yeah.
the caffeine.
and then like there's different types such like sleepy time tea, chamomile tea, green tea. It's just it's all different. So what we like to do is the first thing, obviously, if you're having like high tea, you would put milk in your teacup first.
Yes, Elaine went to she was away on vacation and went to a high tea.
Yeah.
And she found out that they always put their milk or cream in their cup first because a china cup could break if you added the hot tea into it first. So it actually, your hot water goes into kind of a base, so it won't crack your tea.
And milk usually, whenever you add milk, isn't it usually just for the English version of tea, right? Not everyone puts milk in it.
Correct. So some people like lemon in their tea. Some people like honey in their tea. Some people like just sugar in their tea. So people drink tea in all different ways.
Yeah. So let's make our quote unquote perfect cup of tea. So we have ourselves our boiling water, which we are letting sit, and now we're just going to kind of show you with our own teapot here. So how many cups of tea is that, you think?
This is about 5.5 cups. So I have always added 3 tea bags to this.
And now one of the most important things about making tea is actually after you let the water sit. After you let the water steep, as I like to call it, you're gonna want to let's see if I can get this here. You're gonna want to pour the hot water inside your tea kettle with either your bag or your crystals, and then you're gonna let that steep. You're gonna let that steep for at least 5 minutes.
Now, one of the things I do as well, when I'm just making a single cup of tea, and in my regular, coffee cup or tea cup, is I'll put my tea bag in, put my water in, and I put a cover on top of it, either a paper towel that's folded, because or a napkin, because that's keeping the steam in, and it's helping the flavors stay in your cup.
Yeah.
So that's really called the steeping.
Yeah. So we're gonna let this steep for 5. Well, actually, let's show this. So what you would do is you would add I think I forget how many tablespoons
it's
per
one,
cup.
1 for every 2.
Yeah.
So this makes 6 as well.
Yeah. So you would put 1 tablespoon of your crystals or your actual tea leaves, because most of the time, you can get the actual tea. So,
See what it looks like? Can you see it?
Yeah.
They just look like little crystals.
Yeah, like they just kind of like ground up the tea leaves.
Yeah, because it's
and then
dry.
dried them up. Yeah. So we're gonna put 3 in there, and now what we're
I
gonna
actually put 4.
Oh. So now what we're gonna do is throw that in there, and then what you're gonna do? Oh, I see. I always thought you would. Oh, okay, yeah.
So you put that there.
Yeah, you're gonna pour the hot water. If I can get this. You're gonna pour the hot water into the tea leaves or tea crystals and just let that sit. And once again, steeping is probably like the most important thing besides letting the hot water stand after you boil it. So yeah, this is the perfect cup of tea. And tea goes with scones. Tea is my favorite caffeinated beverage to drink.
So this you pour all the way up to the top, see, so that the crystals are sitting in the water. Okay.
And you're gonna cover it.
And then we're gonna cover it.
And leave that alone
and
for
just
5
leave it alone.
minutes.
Yep. Okay, here we are at the final product of our tea and scones. And everybody has a cup of tea and a scone of their preference.
So, how are the? Anyone have the gingerbread?
I'm gonna taste it right now.
Yeah.
Nice and soft, they look.
Yeah, they're very soft.
They're very good.
Yeah.
They came out really good.
So, how are the cranberry and orange ones?
The cranberry one is soft, sweet, very light.
Nice.
Nice.
So, yeah, this has been another Cooking with Kenshin1913 at our tea party. And I hope you enjoyed Stella and all the family.
Enjoy and happy eating.
Bye-bye.